Hey everyone, I'm Jay.
And I'm Scott. Welcome to Witches Betwixt.
So this is a queer witchcraft podcast, and I know there's a number of witchcraft podcasts out there.
Mm-hmm.
But we kind of felt that there was this sort of like queer perspective on it that may have been missing in like a podcast form. So that's kind of like where the inspiration for this came from.
Yeah.
And basically what we're here to talk about is like I said, like putting this this queer perspective on witchcraft and sort of like where do queer people fall within the witch spectrum, basically just trying to figure out like what it all means and how it relates to being a queer identifying person.
Whilst being a practicing
while also being a practicing witch. So I mean this first episode is like super very general. It's mostly just gonna be just talking about like talking about ourselves, our own experiences, and just giving sort of an insight to what we're planning. Meaning like we're gonna be present on YouTube,
Instagram,
Twitter,
and Facebook.
And Facebook, yes, and Facebook. Yeah, so we're gonna have a presence on all of those, and just kind of just start and build this little like queer witch community online, which I'm sure I know other ones exist, but I don't know. I just think it would be it's kind of fun because we can talk for hours.
Hours for hours
about this, and that's really where the inspiration came from. It was like we talk for hours about witchcraft, everything, and we figured, well, why not like share that with people?
Yeah.
Exactly. So on the YouTube channel, mostly what the main like meat and potatoes of it is the podcast itself, which we'll put in audio format on SoundCloud and video format on YouTube. It's not going to be spectacularly edited because I'm not an editing genius.
And I have like zero technological ability whatsoever.
So it's basically just for people who prefer to see people talking versus just audio. And also I think we were going to work on subtitles for the YouTube version.
Yeah,
we are going to subtitle it. We're going to do that manually. But also on the YouTube channel, we'll have some like cool supplemental things. Like we might do some live streams. Like once we can get the community to grow, like vlogs, and we go and do like a cool thing. So that's kind of what we're planning. But for today, we mostly just wanted to focus on just like
us.
On us. Really, it's all about us today.
Yeah, it's all about us. I was gonna say, I was like, who doesn't like to talk about me?
Me, myself, and I. I like to talk about me, myself, and I. Actually, talking about myself is really weird sometimes.
I am fucking awkward as hell. So, it's just kind of fucking weird.
So, basically we're just gonna keep it light for right now. This might not be, like, an hour-long podcast, or it might be, who knows. But yeah, so we're just going to have you guys get to know us, and as we stumble awkwardly through these first couple episodes.
Sounds like fun.
High five. Ta-da.
So you were talking about cheese, how you didn't want cheese.
And I just lathered it. There's a cracker and delicious. So what makes you a gay? When did you become a gay? When did your gay card come in the mail?
Are you sure you're gay?
Are you sure? You haven't found the right one.
God. It really started out with, like, Abercrombie, like, the guys from Abercrombie and Fitch were, like, the models with, like, the big arms. I have, like, a weakness for, like, big...
For big arms.
And, like, I realized I would stare at them for, like... I realized I would stare, like, longer than necessary, and then it kind of, like, gradually happened where, like, you start doing that thing that I guess everyone does where it's kind of like, I'm not gay. No, that's not it. I'm normal. It's an everyday thing. Like, I was just looking at this guy. Like, it's not like that. No. And then, like, eventually it kind of progresses.
It's totally like that.
It kind of becomes like, okay, maybe I'm gay. And then, you're eventually, like, saying it to yourself in the mirror. You're like, I'm gay. Yeah, and then you, like, it's like, those moments where, like, your name sounds funny. And
you like, totally disassociate from it.
Yeah.
And you're like, what does gay even mean? What is my name? Who am I?
Scott. It kind of became that, and then eventually it just kind of, I don't know, my freshman year I came out to my friends. The last day of school on my freshman year I came out to my friends. One of my best friends, Kimberly. And then throughout that summer I, like, came out to my mom a couple of times.
Pen on the table. That mic is going to pick it up. You're going to hear slam. Is
that really what it's going to be?
It might. I'm just saying be careful.
Twitchy like
I know, the pen was a bad idea.
that.
So, you said you came out at the end of freshman year?
The last day of freshman year.
Good job.
Yeah.
So they could have the entire summer to...
like, mull it over
and be like, obvi.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly right.
Obvi.
She was proud of me, though. She didn't do the whole, like, I figured thing. Just because, I mean, let's be real. When people do that...
downplay it, you know what I mean? They're like, I figured. And you're like... Bitch.
You're kind of, like, because at that point, you're kind of like, wait, you're not going to be mad at me? Like, you're not going to cause...
You're not causing a ruckus.
You're not going to call me horrible names and, like, throw me out like I hate you. Like,
how dare you?
I'll tell you not hate me.
How dare you accept me?
It kind of like accidentally becomes that when people do that, I think. So it's she was just like, I'm really proud of you, which was really cool.
That's actually really sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, like, for me, okay, so I didn't have my, like, sexual awakening at all until I was, like, 17. Like, I think I was largely, like, just, like, asexual up until, like, 17.
Wow, so I wasn't late. I always thought I was late. But apparently people... I used
so it was,
to
like,
think
sophomore-ish, junior-ish year of high school for me.
Okay.
So you're a little earlier, but, like...
Yeah.
I don't know, I was just way more interested in, like, Yu-Gi-Oh! And, like, nerd things.
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
It was Harry Potter.
Like, my nerd hobbies were, like, way more on my radar than, like, sexuality in general.
Absolutely.
So, like, that's where I was, and then I was, like, in love with one of my friends. One of my female friends. And I was like, oh my god, I think... I came out as bisexual for, like, 5 minutes. I know.
I didn't want to say
that. And it's like, okay.
Firstly, I do want it duly noted to interject here.
Yes.
Like, that's not like a bi-erasure thing.
No, not at all.
It's just, it is what it is.
Well, your partner's bi.
He is.
Yeah.
He is bisexual, yes.
So there you go. No bi-erasure, no bi-hate here. It's just, it's kind of like a joke, because it's like a lot of people, like, come out as bisexual first, and then they're like, oh, I'm actually just, like, all the way gay, or, like, whatever.
Right, which, of course, does perpetuate bi-erasure.
But it perpetuates bullshit, but in jest, that's, like, kind of what we're aiming at. But yeah, I was like, oh, I think I'm bisexual, and then I had confided in a mutual friend that I liked, our friend, and I was like, don't tell her, and then she went, oh my god, did you, and I was like, okay, so that ended badly.
Yeah, getting outed never ends well, ever. Just because, it's one of those situations where coming out is a very personal experience. It should be about you. It's your thing.
Cat. I thought she was going to knock that cord over. Shake the camera. Thank you. Anyway. So yeah, I mean, that was the kind of thing. And I had come out to my mom, I was like, Mom, like I said, like, literally for, like, 5 minutes. I think, like, honestly, the next day I was like, no, I'm really just gay. I just didn't have it in me to be like, I'm gay.
It took me a minute. Most of it was more out of fear because I was like, well, if I'm completely gay, my mom's gonna, like, it'll be worse. Like, I guess my thinking at that young age was somehow coming out as bisexual would...
Like, it made it like, oh, well, you could be kind of normal, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Is, like, kind of what it makes it seem, even though, like, that's not the case.
No.
But yeah, for me, so it was that, and, I don't know, and then I, you know, I met my first girlfriend, and, you know, it was cool, and then I progressed with, like, I didn't have many partners. I've only had just, like a handful of relationships, but they're all, like, long-term, like, 3 years, 4 years, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, so I really identified as that, but for me, but the twist. In true Shyamalan style. Yeah, so after, like, all these years of, like, identifying as this, like, I guess, butch lesbian sort of thing, a lot of, like, gender identity things, like, really started to surface, after, like, during college, but really after college, when I was living on my own. Because when you're living on your own, you're just, like, you're really in tune with yourself. And sometimes you have too much time with yourself, and too much time alone with your thoughts. And, yeah, so I came into realizing that, you know, I was like, I don't think this butch lesbian thing is really... Because in order to identify as a lesbian, you're identifying as a woman who is attracted to women.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, I was like, I always really struggled with that female identity. So, yeah, I kind of threw that out the window. And I kind of realized, I was like, no, definitely trans makes way more sense. Like, it like, all the puzzles, like, fit into place. So now I'm in this, like, I hate using the word transitionary period, but, you know, a transitionary period.
Right. No,
of, like, I guess, like, I'm socially transitioning. I guess that's the best way to put it.
I mean, I'd assume maybe it happens in stages like that, right?
Yeah, because, like, most of my friend circle, you know, uses male pronouns.
What are your pronouns, just so...
Oh, I go by, he, him, you know, like, male pronouns. Or I'm comfortable with they as well, because, like, you know, I feel like I know the word passing is... The concept of passing is problematic, but, I think I pass kind of well as male until I open my mouth, and then my voice gives me away. You know, I hate saying gives me away, but whatever, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
The voice is different, so, so yeah, I'm okay with, like, they, because a lot of people, like, they'll be like, I don't know who you are. And I'm like,
I found
I'm just me.
with my other trans-identifying friends, if you don't know, and, like, if you don't have, like, the chance to ask, like, I do this thing just because I feel as though, like, I know, like, a lot of trans people don't like it, like, if there's, like, a big group of people, and, like, you're just kind of like, oh, what are your pronouns? Sometimes they like to be more personal about it, so, like, I would rather, like, in my past experience, not necessarily with you, because that was kind of a different process.
Well, it was funny, because I remember it was, like, our mutual friend kind of outed me in front of you. Like, he didn't mean to. Like, Rick, he made some comment.
That's right!
Yeah,
that's right.
He made some comment, and you were, like, off to the side, you were like, what are your pronouns? And I was like, oh. Oh, yeah.
And that's why, just so that way, like, and also it normalizes it for them. Like, if one person's doing it, then, like, everyone starts, like, catching on, and you're starting to normalize the use of different pronouns. Yeah,
so, I mean, I am basically out as trans. Like, obviously, I have not started hormones yet, I haven't had any surgeries. Not that you have to disclaimer. Not that you have to do any of that, but I plan to. I'm mostly out to most of my friend circle, I would say. There are a select few family members that I'm out to, but mostly it's my parents, and that's a whole other thing that I'm not broadcasting to the internet. So, but I'm not out to them, and that's how that goes. But what about you? Are you, like, you're pretty much out to
everyone knows.
Everyone, yeah.
Everyone. It really came down to being really empowered, actually.
Really?
Being gay, actually, I found some type of personal power in it, eventually.
Yeah.
I actually, like, you know, people do that thing, like when, I mean, they still do it, like, I know, like, BuzzFeed, you know, like, they did a video on it, like, you know, if you, they did, they did, like, that, if someone ever came up to you and, like, gave you a cure for being gay, would you do it? You know, you come to that point in your queer, yeah, I know, in your queerness where you definitely are like, no, I love being.
You know, I was actually reading The Iron Pentacle again. I read that's like my Bible now, like lately.
And that's by what author?
It's Gede Parma and Jane Meredith. That was the book that they wrote together.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was actually reading about pride, because it's sex, pride, self-power, passion. And I was reading about pride, and they were actually talking about gay pride in there. They were saying, like, something about, like, pride, like, being proud isn't being an asshole.
Which so many people automatically go to. They take it to, like, this toxic, like pride, like this idea
like
of
pride, you know, like, ta-da, here I am, you know, roll out the red carpet, but it's really not like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so what really stuck with me, like, when I was reading it, I was like, damn. But they were saying that, you know how, like, okay, so if I say to you, you bake the best chocolate chip cookies, and then if you say, oh, no, I don't. And then I go, no, yeah, you too, they're the best, I love them. Basically, they were saying that it's more toxic to do that, like, no, I don't, no. Mm-hmm. They were saying that pride is actually more associated with humility, rather than you faking that, like, no, when you know you make damn good chocolate chip cookies.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Own it.
Exactly. It was saying to own it and just be like, you know what, thank you. Like, I used to have this friend in high school, like, she was a beautiful girl, so every day I would say to her, I said, you're beautiful. And she would say, I know, thank you. And it was just, I was like, damn, like, that's just good, you know what I mean? Like, she was like, yeah, you know, I was always told, like, if people compliment you, just say thank you. You know, if you truly believe it, it's just like, I am beautiful. And I was like, damn.
Yeah. I mean, I won't lie, I still sometimes have problems
I do too.
With compliments.
That's a whole other...
Yeah, that's...
That could be a whole other...
series of videos? An entire podcast?
An entirely different podcast. How to take a compliment. Oh! Like, I like your shirt. Thank you.
Water. I mean.
So I mean that kind of wraps up, I guess, my queerness. I think that's what makes me queer. Like, I would say, in terms of like, I view being trans in the queer spectrum. Mm-hmm. Some people don't. But I definitely view, like, if you identify as trans, non-binary, like, something like that, I do think that is, like, queer. So I definitely feel comfortable saying, like, I am a queer person. But I would say, like, I think in terms of sexuality, I would probably identify closer to being, like, a straight guy. Mm-hmm. Because, like, women.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah.
Love. Bless.
I identify as queer, like, more politically. I'm definitely, like, gay, but queer is something that I do, like, as I kind of consider it, like, a sacred otherness. Like, other not isn't better or superior or whatever, just other. I'm different, and different is okay.
Yeah, you have, like, a different understanding of the world.
Yeah.
Through a queer perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think it really makes you examine people differently.
Yeah. Yeah, which, I mean, I am very much that as just a person.
All the psychology.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, I see you.
Yeah.
Write me a paper.
But I mean, you know, I definitely see queer as a political thing for me, or like a socio-political.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sort of thing.
Which I feel like that could be a topic in and of itself.
We could go there.
Witchcraft and politics.
Ooh.
I'm gonna write that down. Witchcraft and politics. Okay. So we kind of covered the queer part, but like, so how are we tying this into witchcraft? Like, what's your witch origin story?
All right. So when it came to witchcraft, I did not at first. I didn't see any, like, I didn't understand exactly how those two things came together at first. You know, when I was 10 years old is when I really started the witchcraft thing. So witchcraft came first.
You found the witchcraft first.
Yeah, witchcraft came
into
first.
your queer identity.
Mm-hmm.
Same for me, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like 14, like 13, 14, something like that.
Yeah, I was 10. I was a wee little 10.
Little bee. little what'd you say?
Little witchlet.
Wee little witchlet.
Yeah.
What's a wee thing?
Wee lamb. It really was. I mean, do you want the whole backstory?
But whatever you want to show, whatever you think is relevant, you know, like whatever.
I mean, it was a series of experiences, very prominent spiritual experiences. I guess some would maybe consider them paranormal or supernatural. You know, I have issues with those words.
I know.
But
problematic. All the words we find problematic. Every word we say is probably problematic.
You'll notice our faces cringe when we say words that we don't.
Yeah, like paranormal experience.
But you know, very spiritual experiences. On top of, you know, disagreeing with my previous faith, which was Catholicism, Roman Catholicism, there were just things that I never.
I was Catholic as well, but I never.
I actually didn't know that.
Yes. Well, actually, first time I was baptized Baptist.
That's what I thought. And
then my parents wanted me to go to Catholic school. My grandparents wanted me to go to Catholic school.
Okay.
So then they rebaptized me Catholic, and then I ended up going to public school. And I went to Sunday school, and I never even got to communion, so...
Believe it or not, I did. I actually got to... I made my way all the way up.
Sweet communion money.
I did. I actually, you know, I went all the way through the stuff. So I did I even went up to my confirmation.
Really?
I did, and I remember...
But you went to public school, though, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I kept failing Sunday school. Like, we had report cards for Sunday school.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And I kept failing.
Yeah, I hated my teacher, so...
Believe it or not, I love my teacher.
I was like 8 years old, and I was like, I don't want to go anymore.
Well, it just... and this isn't to offend Catholic people, but
No.
That didn't make sense to me.
But, like, when people, like, are like, this is my kid, and this is your religion because I said so.
That, you know, women couldn't be priests. I never understood that. And the thing is, obviously...
Too queer for your own good.
Pretty much. So that stuff at first really kind of bothered me. And of course, you know, it started like spiritual questing and, you know, on top of these very spiritual experiences that continue to this day. Eventually it really came from like researching, you know, meditation and how to like open the third eye and things like that.
That's where it started for me. It was like through Buddhism.
Yeah. But it was, I don't know if it was Buddhism.
It was actually really funny because like I was simultaneously reading about Satanism and Buddhism.
There you go.
And I was like, how do you like blend the two? You know what I mean? Is there a blend? And that's kind of like...
you know, believe it or not, I mean, I don't want to go on a tangent with this, but to kind of give you some like whatever, like there are certain like Eastern traditions, like the Sakyan tattoos, in which there's like a lot, like it's somewhere between like Buddhism and Haitian voodoo. It's like possession and sigil, and like there's a master who has like an altar and he has to do it at his altar, and like it's so like there is, not to say that Satanism and voodoo are the same thing, but to say that like a more primal, more a much more ancestral way
I
of
think
thinking.
the draw for me initially to Satanism was the rebellious aspect of it. I think that was what initially drew me to it.
Yeah.
And because it was like, you know, it was cool to like read about Satanism, you know, like it was originally that, and then I was like, oh, this is like really like self-empowering, like that's what it's mostly about.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm not talking about Luciferian. Like, I'm just talking about like Anton LaVey's Satanism.
Yeah, like the atheistic.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, it's really self-empowering, and then like Buddhism was also like kind of like self-empowering, and
yeah,
and then well, yeah, but anyway.
I mean, like I was saying though, I don't know if it was necessarily Buddhism at first for me. It was more just like I said, like how to harness, you know, like innate psychic talents. So like parapsychology websites, you know,
yeah.
Which all of a sudden, you know, back in the day there used to be like little
back
ads.
in the day. Oh my god.
It was actually let's.
Wait, I'm sorry. Was it like GeoCities website, like we were talking about,
type of
Angel
stuff.
Fire?
Yeah, that type. I mean, other stuff too, but like that type
the
of stuff.
spinning
Pentacles and like the pixelated fires. That came later. But like that's actually what led to that. It was like these little banners on the side that led to like Wicca, you know, and it would have like pentagrams and like candle stuff. And like, what does this do? And you know, and it led to like, you know, what is Wicca? And Wicca was like, oh my god, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's right. Exactly.
Like, gimme.
You know,
grubby hands.
It was, you know, it talked about like spirits and it talked about magic, and I was like, that's amazing. Yes, it's exactly kind of what I feel.
Amazing, and I want it.
Yeah,
I want all of it.
And that's how it's progressed from there. But obviously now to kind of bring this back to how does witchcraft and my queer identity kind of overlap in some way. That's actually an interesting question. They're both equally as empowering.
Yeah, I would agree. Like they're both very self-empowering.
And
ways of thinking.
I would also say that they're both sacred otherness. They're both kind of like othering, but not like superior. Just different. And
well, yeah, because like we were saying, like seeing the world through a queer perspective, right? Like, I think when you have a queer perspective, you also tend to have maybe sometimes a more liberal way of thinking. Sometimes a more you're more aware of like when you see misogyny. Like you may not identify as female, but you see misogyny.
Yeah.
You see feminism at play, or you know you see someone who is like visibly queer, and you like automatically feel like a little like, hey, I see you, you know, like I see, and but then I also feel that way like if I meet someone, they're wearing like a necklace or a charm or something that I recognize, like definitely. I'll be like, I like your necklace, and they're like, oh, thank you, you know, and then if it's just like costume jewelry, they'll be like, oh, thanks, I got it from Claire's or whatever. Yeah. But if it's like an actual like a thing, they'll be like, oh my god, yeah, I made this myself, or you know, do you practice as well? And then usually it turns into a whole like, oh my god, blessed be, and like that kind of stuff, which is fun. It's cute, like it's fine.
I mean, you know, it's always polite. I generally don't say blessed be like out of circle. Yeah. But that's just either. Because you know.
It's usually the people I encounter that are usually.
Yeah, some of the people, which is cool. I mean, I'm polite, and it
comes from a place of like being nice.
It really does. Yeah. So I mean, like, I'm not gonna knock them for it. But yeah. So how does the craft fit into your queerness? Well, what is your thing?
It's kind of funny because, like I said, like my early queer identifying self was like lesbian, I'm a woman, and women, and it was very like feminist driven. So like when I started to get into the craft, like it was like Satanism and like Buddhism were my like gateways into it, and then I found Wicca.com, which we were talking about the other day, the Celtic connection, and I ate that website up and the forums, and that was like it, and I was like, I'm Wiccan. Like I did like the whole self-dedication thing, and I bought some books. I started up an altar in my room. And so basically, like, that was, like, a thing. So, like, I was simultaneously going through that. So a lot of the books that I was getting, after I had read all, like, the Cunningham books, like, all the beginnery stuff, and, what was the other guy? I can't think of his name, oh my god. Buckland?
Mm-hmm.
And... No, I think, yeah. Cunningham and Buckland, yeah. Cunningham and Buckland, they were, like, my two guys, two intro guys. And then after that, I started finding, like, women's spirituality, power, like all these, I'm probably saying all the names wrong, but, like, something, like, everything about goddess energy, and, like, goddess work, and, like, finding your inner goddess, and, like, working with goddess, and, like, it was hyper feminine. It was hyper feminine because...
So would you say it was almost sort of like a Dianic, like
kind
feminist
of,
Wicca?
like Aradia, really, like gospel, like Aradia, Gospel of the Witches.
I mean,
like,
I still love it.
oh, like I love it too. Like even now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was very much like, it was very like, because I've shown you some of my books. They're all like Mother Peace and like.
Yeah.
And I started to get into Starhawk a lot, who I still love.
No, Starhawk.
I still love.
I mean, like she's one of like
the
like
whole
an elder of the,
yeah, exactly.
the
Like the whole reclaiming, like reclaiming fairy. Like we talk about this a lot. Like I feel like if I were to work on an initiation in anything, it would either be reclaiming or fairy. Like one of those or both. You know. Like
I would do probably fairy.
Yeah,
but I
think I've been leaning more toward that because of all the stuff.
I think for me though, and I guess this is a topic for another time. I guess for me, just to say it though, not to. I think that the only thing I have with reclaiming is its focus on
it's politically
on its politics, which is not to say that I don't have thoughts on politics. It's just to say that I want my witchcraft for witchcraft, and if I use it to aid in politics,
then that's your choice. Right. You don't want it to like be the focal point.
Right.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. But yeah, so yeah, it was like really goddess, feminine energy heavy, and I had a big, and I think the reason I was doing it was like also kind of subconscious a little bit because I was like, you know, I went through, and I think a lot of trans people experience this is like when you start to have these little whispers in your head of like, you might not be what you were born as, and you start to have these whispers, and I think you get into this mindset that you have to kick it up a notch. You know, you gotta do all the goddess things, and I was almost like purely Dianic in the fact that like I didn't even want to address like male energy or anything like that. And honestly, only probably within the last couple years did I really start to address male energy, because I had worked with female energy so long that it became really comfortable. I was like, you know, I could, like, that goddess presence was familiar. It was really familiar to find. And as I'm, like, finding my own, like, male identity, I'm trying to figure out how to work with those male energies. And that, I don't know, I mean, we're always learning and stuff like that. So I think I do still, like, because sometimes I think there's this image of the god as, or just gods in general, or, you know, the big, the strong, the you know, but, like, they never really paint him in a softer light that often, you know, like, as lover, father, you know, stuff like that.
I mean, I would honestly say for me, I was actually, as far as, like, maybe not necessarily a feminist by, like, Dianic definition, but, I would definitely say as far as, like, goddess energy, I definitely was all about having a goddess and completely ignoring any male
and I think a little bit of that was a little bit of, like, rebellion from, like, Catholicism, because I was like, oh, you know,
believe it or not,
God is a woman. You know,
that
like,
too.
that's where
I
was.
mean, you know, that too. I used to listen to this song. There's a techno song called "God Is a Girl." I used to love that song, but
still do.
Yeah, totally. I haven't listened to it in a minute, but I still love it. But I also, I mean, not to get too personal, but I also think it was also rebellious of personal experiences with my own father.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
That was kind of like, and unfortunately I still have this situation where I'm not very good with like manly man. Like it tends to make me uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, I'm pretty feminine. Some people say that if I don't open my mouth, you couldn't tell. Not that I really care either way. But
I don't know. I think I'm too deep in this friendship to really like.
So yeah. But I think I'm pretty feminine. But like, and it's funny because you look at me and I'm
I don't know if it's feminine. I think you're gentle. You have a more gentle nature.
Right.
Which is associated with femininity.
Feminine. I like.
Problematic.
Well, I was also going to. I didn't want to, because I know it's a topic we do want to discuss, is the idea of masculine and feminine and.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I know that's
what
a
that
topic
means.
that we want to discuss, so I don't want to go too much into that either.
Yeah. Can't do the whole podcast series in one episode.
Right. But no, it did take me a minute to realize the kind of polarizing necessity of them. But of course I don't there's definitely not like, it's not like man and woman, it's feminine and masculine.
Exactly. Because you can be a man and possess those.
I don't want to go too far.
Store that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think in terms of witchcraft as a whole, like for my personal queer identity, I think it has helped me. Definitely, it has been a huge support system for me coming into my own masculinity, because you know, now like just in just like meditation or prayer, because I really do identify like as a witch, but I also have the religious side of it. So, you know, I do honor my, you know, my God, my goddess. So I do have that. So, and I just have these moments where I'll kind of like be in prayer, you know, and I feel that goddess energy, but not as strongly. Like I feel like I've worked with that energy so much, like it's there, and it feels really great, and I feel like I've accepted that part of me. That, you know what, you will always have feminine qualities, right? Because I was socialized as female, even though I was never super feminine. I was socialized that way, so I'll always have those qualities. But I feel like I never had a boyhood, so I feel like I'm just jumping right into learning how to be a man. I think that's what it is. And I think like when I'm meditating with those energies, or just in prayer, I think that's kind of like what I'm asking for, is like, you know, just how do I be a man? Like, how do I be an effective man? And I think just like having witchcraft there has helped, because I can do these spells to like help me connect more with that. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And also, I think it's also empowering in the sense of like, you know, if people, like I've been called it, you know, I mean, usually the go-to is fat dyke. Yeah. That's usually the go-to insult for me. So, you know,
mine's fat fag.
You know, so there you go. So usually it's the fat thing. That's usually the first thing.
Which is like, interesting. Which is weird. Right. Neither of those things hurt me anymore. But
I know. I'm like, I lost 10 pounds, bitch. If I gain 10 pounds, bitch.
I can always lose weight. Wait, but you're still.
But you're still a bitch.
Alright.
Fight me. So yeah. So I think it's like you can also use that witchcraft as empowering for your queer self. In terms of like, you can make an amulet for yourself, or like when you're at Pride, you know, like when you're at like a big like gay event or something, like, well,
there's an energy there in and of itself.
Oh yeah, like the whole thing is just like, it's just one big bundle of energy. But it's also like, when I'm at a queer event, I look at it through the eyes of a witch. When I'm at a witch event, I look at it through the eyes of a queer identifying person.
Really?
Yes. Like my queerness like kicks like Pagan Pride Day, because I see a lot of these like polarizing binary things. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, definitely.
So that's when like my feminism kicked in, and like my like oh well, you know, it doesn't have to just say God, or it doesn't have to say goddess. Like I'm sure there's like in between ones, and like I start to get a lot, you know. But yeah, I think I start to see things much through queer, because sometimes I see the lack of queer representation in witchcraft.
In mainstream witchcraft.
In mainstream witchcraft, yeah, which is like in
particular. Well, yeah, modern American neo-Wicca.
Yeah, I mean, because like you know, we were saying before, like we've studied a lot.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm starting to encounter more queer things now, especially like with writers like Gede Parma, like writing books. I think Jane Meredith is also queer. I could have sworn.
I actually, believe it or not, not to be an offense, I actually never heard of that author pre.
Yeah, because I feel like I was because they have like memoirs inside the Iron Pentacle.
That's right.
So they'll talk about like that point, and then they have a memoir. I could have sworn she said she was in a thing with a woman or something.
Oh,
I don't know, but the point is like I'm encountering that more now, which is super great to see. But sometimes like it's something like Pagan Pride Day. It's like, or even like when I was going to, I don't want to say the name because I'm not trying to like bash them or anything. The place up in Upper Darby area.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean even up there, like it was nice. It was alright, but I would definitely look at it through like the perspective of a trans person.
I mean, well, the implications of gender in that kind of Wicca, it's not exactly what we're talking about. It's not masculine and feminine. It's very literally man and woman.
Yeah.
And like literally that.
Yeah.
Which is not something I see. It's not something that I actually think is a part of witchcraft at all, as far as man and woman. Whereas I think masculine and feminine are energies which are
present
one thing and two things at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's just kind of, and I feel like I can use my queer identity as a shield in the witchcraft community, but I can also feel like I can use my witch identity as a shield in the queer community. Like, I feel like I have these tools that I can use in both communities, and I can just, like navigate that more soundly. I think that being a witch has helped me feel more comfortable being queer, and I think that being queer has made me feel more comfortable being a witch.
I think, and you know, for me, the reason for that same thing, and I really think maybe for you as well, witchcraft is about owning your own life. There's no demonic or devilish deity who is whispering in your ear.
Yeah, saying no, you can't be that. You can't do that.
It's you know, it's pretty much. I believe you always say, just don't be an asshole. Do anything you want, just don't be an asshole.
Exactly, like
don't hurt other people.
When I was first studying Wicca, I was like, so basically, what all this is saying is, don't be a dick. Okay.
Yeah.
I could do that.
You know, I mean, you know, and yeah. There's a lot we could talk about, but we'll talk more about, we'll expand on points in a later episode. But absolutely. Witchcraft and my queerness have almost organically grown together to the point where I don't actually. They just kind of exist. They just kind of exist.
I would say that's true for me too. Like, I haven't been able to. Man, like even just like getting ready. Right, like getting ready to go out. I'm like, alright, well, you know, look at my hair, okay, fine. And then, like, I put, like, this binder on, you know, like someone, like, you know, I like having this flat chest look. And, like, I'll put the binder on, but, like, that in and of itself is a ritual for me. Like, that in and of itself is, like, protective magic. It's transformative magic.
Yeah.
You know, because it's like I'm taking this physical part of me, and I'm putting this on, like, pull it on it, pull it over, tuck it down into my pants, you know, I pull the belt. Like, it's the same thing every time.
Repetition, like ritual.
But it is ritual. And I think, you know...
Maybe not necessarily the same thing, but I will say, as far as, like, a feeling of thanks that comes over me, like, in the morning, for instance, like this morning, you know, I woke up and
As I woke you up.
As you woke me up, yeah, to come here at, like, 9 o'clock in the morning.
Love you, baby.
You know, waking up in my partner's arms and waking up just before him. Or no, he was half asleep. So technically speaking, I was probably more awake than he was. He was coming in the door after going to the bathroom, but he was still half asleep. But anyway,
like a zombie.
Yeah, still being able to wake up to him and a feeling of thanks just for what I do have as a queer person now. To be able to do that without repercussion or fear. Yeah. I mean, there can be fear, but not in my own home.
Yeah, exactly.
So it, you know, and I am thankful for his presence in my life, you know, my partner. So, and I am thankful that I'm always of the belief that the spirits are kind of moving pieces around to help to better your life and to put positive experiences, maybe not necessarily just positive, but experiences in your way that are transformative and empowering and beneficial. But as I said, maybe not always necessarily positive. Sometimes I think that maybe they're putting hardships there as well.
Yeah. Side-eye the spirit. So yeah, I mean, I think we pretty much kind of covered everything that we kind of wanted to get at.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we've legitimized ourselves as gay.
Watches.
Queer watches.
Watches.
The queer watches. So yeah, I mean, that's just kind of like sums up the first episode. We're gonna come back with another one. I think we're gonna try and post these twice a month.
That's what we said, at least for now, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do it twice a month. I thought about this whole thing of like coinciding it with the new and the full moons, and I don't think that's gonna happen.
No,
I think I might just post them on like Wednesdays or something. Like, which Wednesday? Easy to remember.
That'd be cute, yeah.
Yeah, which Wednesday?
And we could do like other stuff too. We could do like Q&A videos, which would be fun.
Absolutely. So we have a lot of stuff planned. We are going to start posting on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Yes. I think you should cover more Facebooks. I fucking hate Facebook. Yay!
So
I
whenever you're on
Instagram
Facebook,
and the twatter. Like the twatter. So yeah, we'll post some stuff there. I guess sometimes we'll do like little live things or just like post videos, stuff, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, we'll just like put stuff on there and like basically we just want to create this little like queer witchcraft community and really just like give a little glimpse to what do regular old people in this world that just practice witchcraft that are not published authors and we're not like these big names, what do they talk about, like, you know,
and we just years of experience.
So yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up. We didn't really think of a way to like close these out in like a non-awkward way.
Which is fine. So
we're just gonna say like, see you next episode.
Have a good one, guys. See you next time.
Bye.